This week in the neighborhood, the title of the lesson, Love Always Wins. Let's get our love on, kids. Hello, kids. This week is all about the excitement that I still have and talking about love. Because, kids, love always wins. It always does. All right, let's get to it. This week, we're talking about the Good Samaritan. Another one of my favorite stories. All right, listen. I have a question. How many of you have seen the movie series Avengers? One of my favorite movie series. Well, in that series, we see two characters. We see Thor and we see Loki, right? Well, Loki is a pretty bad person, right? He does a lot of bad things. And a lot of people don't like him, right? In the first Avengers, all of the Avengers are trying really hard to capture him. But guess what? No matter how many people don't like him, Thor always loves him. He continues to love him. Even in the end game, at the end, after Loki has done all of these things, Thor still shows love for his brother. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Still showing love, even though there may be some things going on, some hatred going on, right? And we shouldn't hate, but let's talk about it. All right, so in this story, one day, a teacher of the law tried to put Jesus to the test, right? He said, I know the law says to love God with all my heart and to love my neighbor as myself. But he asked, who's my neighbor? Well, Jesus told him one of his famous parables. And parables, they're stories that Jesus used to explain a lesson or explain the differences between right and wrong, right? And in this parable that he tells this teacher of the law, he talks about some things that are right and wrong and the differences between the two. So Jesus said in his parable, a man was on his way to the city of Jericho, but some robbers beat him up and left him in the road. They took everything he had. The man was hurt. He had many bruises, and he needed help. Well, a few people passed him by on the road. A priest walked by. A helper in the temple walked by, but they did not stop. But then a man, a Samaritan, came along. And when he saw the hurt man, he stopped. And the Samaritan man cleaned up the man's wounds. He lifted the man onto his donkey and took him into town to an inn where he took care of him. In the morning, the Samaritan man gave the person who ran the inn 2 silver coins and said, take good care of him until I return. After Jesus finished his parable, he asked, which one of the 3 men was the neighbor? The 3 men that was on that road where that man lay, hurt, bruised, broken? The teacher of the law answered, the man who took care of the hurt man. And yes, that is the neighbor. The one that stopped to help that man was the neighbor. Let me tell you something else, kids. The man who was beaten up was a Jewish man. The man who stopped was a Samaritan man. Well, the Jews and the Samaritans, they had some issues, right? They didn't like each other. But guess what? Despite those issues, that Samaritan man still stopped. He still stopped. Just like today, kids, we can't let things like the color of a person's skin or the clothes they have on, or if they have on name brand shoes, or if they have on clothes that came from Walmart, right? That's no way, that's no reason to not like someone or to not to help someone, right? No matter what, we should always be a good neighbor. And I know it's hard, kids, because some people, let's face it, they're mean. They're not nice people. And so our thought is, why should we help them? But kids, you know what? We should always do what we can to love our neighbors, even the ones who sometimes don't show us the love that we deserve. So what's the faith in this story, kids? Well, the faith in this story lies in this scripture. I want to read a scripture from Leviticus, right? Chapter 19, verse 18. It says, forget about the wrong things people do to you. You must not try to get even. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. I am the Lord. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do you love yourself? Yes. Did God wake you up this morning? Yes. To give you another day to love yourself. So, guess what, kids? I want you to think about the love that you have for yourself and think about giving a little bit of that love to a person that maybe has given you a rough time in the past. Because kids, today in this world, all we need is love. And you know what? We can have faith in that love. We can have faith in the fact that that love can change the world. Hi kids, it's Dr. Irish just popping in to say, wasn't that a great lesson? It was such a great lesson. It's always good to know that we are made of love. We're made from love. God is love. We're made in his image, right? All the love God has for us, I know that we can use some of the love he gave us and pass it on to other people. Pass it on to those people who may not have been nice to us, who may not have been kind to us. Just like that Samaritan was kind to that Jewish man, even though they had some issues, right? Kids, it's always better to walk in love than to walk in hate. I promise you, love always wins. All right, kids, I have a few things for you. You're awesome because our amazing God, the God made of love, made us that way. And the second thing is, you are awesome. Well, I'll say it again. The second thing is, faith is your superpower. Walk it out every day and be awesome while you do it. And the last thing is, I love you kids, and there is nothing you can do about it. Even Dr. Irish makes mistakes. Hey, but I still walk in love. Have a great week, kids.